Greetings everyone, please give me a moment to make sure everything's set on up. Looks like everything's going up there. Looks like everything's starting to boot on up. Let's see, turn live chat windows. Somebody last stream recommended you should use this plugin here in order to just display everything. So I'm giving this a try. Okay, all the live chat windows good. Somebody knows as well. I use a modified. Is it not? Let's see. There we go. Sorry, still sort of just fine-tuning some of the stuff. Sometimes I realize, oh wait, that's a little bit too much. I think everything is good to go. So let's go and get started. Greetings everyone, and Grade here with another Advanced Wars by Web replay. Spawning on the south side is the Orange Star Max. We got Night Fury 42. Spawn north side as the Jade Sun Olaf. Got 87. So let's go ahead and get started. Wait, why do they have more? Oh, that's why they have more value. They have black boats. Sorry, I'm sort of getting myself distracted. This map is a 2-base map, 1 airport, so do expect a healthy number of battlecopters, which of course Olaf can slow it down with either Blizzard or Winter Fury. Max cores can just beef up their damage to see affects all direct units, excluding foot soldiers. Double recon there by Olaf, so 1 recon for Max, double recon for Olaf. Looks like both sides going to try to reconnoiter the map. My microphone working? Yes, it is. One thing I always forget to do when starting up a stream or recording is double check to make sure my microphone's working, because I've had times where the microphone was turned off or it just got unbound. Recon does spot the recon, but in return the recon does spot the recon. But luckily the recon can spot the recon, so the recon can keep an eye on the recon. That was the infantry unit here. Tank here, recon down south. We also got the recon spotting the recon, but the recon can also spot the recon. Okay, that's enough of that. Early battlecopter deployed in fuel. Does strike the recon there, and for those who are wondering, the pipe runner is not available. This is river there, so this infantry unit can make his way over here, though he will be on top of the base here. And now I'm thinking about it. Most times people move the infantry back down this way, don't they? So there could be a T-copter or APC next turn, based on positioning, or just has to take a half turn and only stop at the end of the river, like this infantry unit there. Wait, no, you could just go 1, 2, 3. So he purposely took a shot at his pipe seam, which will reduce his movement speed over there. So Olaf is eyeing something there. So there's going to be an APC or T-copter next turn. Tank infantry does strafe the infantry unit there. Trying to capture the comm tower now. Resupplies infantry unit. How he resupplied it, he gave him a high 5 with his 2 arms. And he decides to just move a half a tile, or 1 tile. Maybe that's not exactly a well thought out shot. Oh well. We've got 2 tanks and a battlecopter on the left flank. Pair of tanks on the right flank, or north flank. Is that a flank? Another tank. Another tank, so double tank. You have 1 anti-tier. As I've always been told, go for anti-tier no later than turn 10. And fighting against Max, you probably should eye for an earlier anti-tier, because the chance of early battlecopter is just likely. Double tank. Couple captures. Artillery, battlecopter, and infantry. Does strafe this infantry unit a couple times, hits the recon, takes it out. Got 2 tanks in range though, but of course the recon acts a bit of a blocker. If one tank's also on top of the city, we can take a shot from a platform. Artillery going to be shelling the recon, very nice. Oh, does get trapped there. Another tank and recon, saving 8,000 monies. Could be dying to save something big, like a Neo tank, but pop deploy right there for stealth position since he sees the recon. Next turn he does have 18,000. We got quadruple tank, 1 battlecopter, a 5th tank, a quintuple tank. Up here, only 2 tanks for defense and a wounded recon. Recon gets shot up. Shells the recon over here. Neo tank infantry, so I did have a good prediction. 18,000 versus 20,000 income, 112 versus 101. So Olaf has about a half turn advantage. Neo tank recon, so both players go for Neo tank. Neo, of course, means new, so it's a new tank. Another recon there, spot the recon. Tank, battlecopter, recon. New tank heading over here, probably I'm to displace these tanks no problem for hard counter. Oops, recon does get trapped on the infantry unit there. Nice little find for both players. Not a too big an issue. There's nothing to retaliate against this recon nearby. But it looks like Max has pulled back his tanks here, front shifting somewhere. Does not spot the Neo tank, so maybe the recon, if it would have pushed, sprinted farther forward, it could spot that Neo tank, but did not. Spots a recon, but nothing much else. Tank, battlecopter, and infantry. Does hit this infantry unit there twice. Hits the recon. Hit another recon bullet on the field. Tank does hit tank, so a lot of good picks there by Max. You can see that Max did get a lot of early advantages since he does have less power charge than Olaf. Infantry, battlecopter, and anti-air. Recon does hit the infantry there. Anti-air hits the battlecopter. Tank hits infantry unit. Tank hits infantry unit. Not great targets there. Neo tank wipes out the regular tank. However, we've got a Neo tank in range and maybe get a bit of extra firepower. Plus 30% firepower or plus 50%. Statistically, probably the power would be better. Always a good idea to go for 1-2 punch. So I have a feeling there's going to be a max force this turn. Maybe he goes for a full max blast for the extra firepower, but he still needs some extra power charge for that. Nope, just got max force or maximum firepower. No, that's max blast. Neo tank strikes Neo tank. Looks like it's a completely, utterly, and ordinary engagement. Winter Fury is almost available. Does take out the artillery piece. And Olaf should have a pretty good turn next turn. Takes out one more tank there. Strafes up the anti-air. And pushing forward over here. Recon does act a bit of a buffer. Of course, with this not going to be soon be down 2 health, so should easily able to overcome the extra power defense. Goes from 164 to 130. Tank does hit the recon. Battlecopter hits the tank. Tank hits tank. Tank hits recon. Battlecopter hits regular tank. Sacks the infantry or the anti-air. Neo tank hits regular tank. Battlecopter hits regular tank. Got another wounded battlecopter nearby. Actually, may not be a range at 1, 2, 3, 4 tiles away. I'm pretty sure you can only move to this tile, even with a power. I can't remember if things don't round up, they always round down. Neo tank will take out the Neo tank. Trace of 1 health infantry. 125 versus 119, so still pretty even. Slight advantage for Olaf, though Max does have 23,000 income. Of course, he did spend quite a bit in repairs there, so Olaf has about 1 turn advantage. Does fight in the anti-air, takes out the anti-air, allows Battlecopters a bit more free reign. We've got multiple anti-airs here, and I'm pretty sure for just a simple power, they're able to range it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Nope, needs 7, 8 in order to range the Battlecopters. It needs a full superpower, which may not be possible. Battlecopters can release the Battlecopters, though. Tank, artillery, or tank, recon, and or Battlecopter. Artillery is still here, shuttling and ready to shell the recon once again. Neo tank hits the regular tank. It's the regular tank there. He may be going to try to squeeze out the superpowers of the double anti-air two Battlecopters. You can see here you have 2 tiles away. He needs a superpower, but I don't think he's going to be able to squeeze it out. Creeping forward the anti-airs. Battlecopter strafes Battlecopter. Battlecopter strafes Battlecopter. Does get trapped. Regular tank hits the recon, but it does park itself next to a tank and to another tank. He did at least have this tank spotted, so he won't normally enter the range of this tank, but did not have that one spotted. Tank hits tank, tank hits tank. Max blast available for maximum firepower. Picks off another of those units. Wounded Battlecopter almost gets picked off there. 2 full health Battlecopters there, so these anti-airs can get some good work done. Instead of 126,000 versus 101. My apologies for outside. I live in an apartment, and the groundskeepers, I think that's the proper term for them, is using a leaf blower, so my apologies. Nothing much I can do about that. Full max blast, blasting off again. I don't know where I was going with that joke, but good enough. Does take out the Battlecopters, leaving 1 3 health Battlecopter. 6 health Neotank managed to pick off a full health regular tank. Get some good hits there. Finish a couple tanks there. Max is making some maximum effort this turn. Battlecopter, tank, and recon. Though we do have the Winter Fury available. Max is 121 versus 79. 94 versus 79, evening out the value quite a bit. Remember, add the day-to-day value here, so it's effectively 100. Neo tank hits the anti-air. 1 health Battlecopter falls back. Tank hits tank. Don't have to go keep too far away from this Battlecopter to stay out of range. 1 health anti-air can still pep up that Battlecopter, assuming he has vision. Maybe we'll make his way down to this Battlecopter here, but I don't think it's in range. Shows the recon, Battlecopter, tank, and infantry. Neo tank got put in the repair mode. Wait, he's not an AI. He's more I than A. Tank, tank, and a bit of resupply there. Starting to flip a property up north. Max still has 4 property advantage. Gets an anti-air twice, giving more free range for his Battlecopters. Another Battlecopter, tank, and infantry. Both these COs are pretty good with Battlecopters. At least Olaf is pretty good at fighting Battlecopters thanks to the snow. And of course, Max Battlecopters do offer maximum benefits. I suppose Sensei still has more firepower bonuses. Does finish off that tank there. Artillery, we got a max artillery. Of course, does get 1 less range, but 2 range still adequate to the recon. Just needs a bit of a spotter. Infantry, tank, and Battlecopter. Recon does the Battlecopter, hits infantry unit up north. Does the Battlecopter up north for a good amount of damage. Battlecopter, anti-air, and infantry. Infantry unit cannot spot the recon, so we'll need to move the infantry, then deploy something there to spot the recon, such as a tank or a recon. Does take out the recon there. Soon to be 5 health Neo tank and good healthy core tanks there as well. None of them stop the battlecopters, but they're rofting their way up north. Does show the recon there. Thanks to the spotting of the tank. Of course, it does have reduced firepower by 10%, which is not actually too terrible. It makes you wonder if he ever just wounds it down to 5 health, or rather than down to 4 health. But I suppose actually the reduction of defense starts with a follow-up shot will probably may still finish it off. May does not mean it will. Infantry, artillery, and battlecopter. Another recon has been deployed out there. Shows that recon there. Looking at the city. Olaf cannot let any more cities get flipped. Infantry, and battlecopter. Does move the artillery unit forward. Battlecopter, tank. Now the artillery has a spotter. Does hit the infantry unit, 2 infantry units there, but not in range of artillery piece. Both players are getting quite a bit of power charge up and going. Is there a tank there? Tank gets taken out. We do have now another max blast. Next turn, Neo tank will be back to full health. Not sure. Well, he does have a spot now thanks to his recon. Battlecopter, infantry, and recon. No spotter right now at the moment for that recon. I suppose he could let it exist for one more turn and use the Winter Fury to soften up for another turn. Tank does the recon. Recon hits 1 health infantry unit. Battlecopter hits battlecopter, knocking it out. Battlecopter gets shot down. Regular tank gets knocked out. Artillery piece gets knocked out. Winter Fury is now available. Does find an infantry unit there. Battlecopter, tank, and infantry. Winter Fury now summoned. Max goes from 174 versus 122 to 138, really calling down that numbers, evening out the playing field. Does spot the recon. Anti-air takes the battlecopter. Battlecopter hits tank. Tank hits tank. Battlecopter hits battlecopter. Tank hits anti-air. Tank hits anti-air. Battlecopter hits a Neo tank. Battlecopter hits regular tank. Tank, infantry. And battlecopter. Does hit the regular tank there. Does took out that tank there. Just took 3 times to kill it off. Battlecopter hits battlecopter. Battlecopter, infantry, and recon. And Max is making some good progress up north. Could see a property flip. Recon needs to interrupt it. Right now it's 24,000 versus 18,000. Max is getting just quite a bit of income advantage. Does take the battlecopter there. Neo tank gets struck by the battlecopter. Does not take out this anti-air 3, now 3 health infantry. Neo tank is now surrounded. Tank, infantry, and battlecopter. Power max force now activated. Anti-air hits battlecopter, one-shotting it at 6 health. Does the 8 health battlecopter, taking it out. Finish off the 3 health infantry with the 2 health Neo tank. Take out the recon. Hits the regular 8 health tank there, knocking it out. Hits a regular tank there, putting down 2 health. infantry, tank, and battlecopter. We do have another recon there. Hopefully deploys out tank or recon this turn. Takes out a couple battlecopters. Hits the regular tank twice and thrice. Hits a regular tank there. Does spot the recon there. Shells off the artillery. Oh, recon finds recon. And Olaf is down to 17,000 income versus 25,000 for Max. Max can go for Neo-Tank each turn. Hell, he can go for Bomber each turn. He's getting that magical income of very high. Medium tank, battlecopter, and infantry. It's a regular tank there, and twice. Winter Fury is almost available. Finds the recon once again, and this time on top of a forest. How annoying. Pops a Winter Fury, which does interrupt the captures, which this comm tower is, of course, being flipped, but does delay it by a turn. Battlecopter hits battlecopter. Tank hits regular tank there. Finish off the 1 health, 1% Neo tank. Infantry, tank, and battlecopter. Battlecopter, infantry, and medium tank, or regular tank. Max, Olaf has to interrupt this, capture the comm tower, if not outright fully stop it. Does not stop it, does stop it. Battlecopter, recon, and tank. And the max force is available. Olaf ends turn 127,000 versus 76. And Max did flip another profit, so now it's 25,000 versus 17,000 income. Battlecopter, tank, and recon. Hits the recon, hits the infantry unit, hits the infantry unit. Does hit the infantry unit a couple times, resupplies the battlecopter. Battlecopter, infantry, and infantry, keeping 6,000 funds in the bank. How funds? Okay, that joke was not going very well. Probably a good joke for Colin. Does take out some good number of tanks there. Battlecopter hits battlecopter with this anti-air will get struck. Max does have another max force available. Recon heading up north. Does hit the tanks there twice. Battlecopter, recon, and tank. You now have the max force available. Battlecopter hits battlecopter. Medium tank hits regular tank. Regular tank hits recon. Battlecopter hits battlecopter. Does have vision both of the tank and artillery unit down south. Stops the capture. Another medium tank needs to get set over to the east. Tank, infantry, battlecopter, and another recon. Recon is immediately spotted by the regular tank. We got a good number of battlecopters centered by Olaf right now. He has 5 on the field. Max return does actually have 5 as well. Anti-air hits battlecopter. Artillery hits regular tank. Battlecopter hits regular tank. Battlecopter hits battlecopter. Another artillery unit ready to shell the recon. Infantry, battlecopter, and artillery. Does hit some of these battlecopters here. Recon, Neo tank. Recon pushing up north. Olaf still managed to hold on that comm tower, trying to flip up property. Battlecopter hits regular tank. Tank hits regular tank. Another Winter Fury is available. Battlecopter hits Battlecopter. Battlecopter hits your regular Battlecopter. Finish off the Battlecopter. Tank, Infantry, and Battlecopter. Another max force now deploying field. Gain +1 move range to help overcome the snow. Interrupts the capture. Battlecopter hits Battlecopter. It hits the Battlecopter. Battlecopter, Infantry, Infantry. Hits the infantry in there. Tank hits it twice and now thrice. Artillery does shell the recon. Recon, Battlecopter, and regular tank. Hits the Battlecopter there. Recon hits infantry. Medium tank. Sacks the medium tank. Anti-air medium tank. Does hit that recon there. Does not take it out though. Shells the recon. Got it now an Olaf bomber deployed in the field. And infantry. Olaf probably wants to get the bomber to hit the medium tank and neo tank. I've seen so at 58%. Does hit the tank there. Anti-air infantry and Battlecopter. Bomber heading up north. Does hit the Battlecopter over here. Battlecopter gets shot down. We do have now a max force available. Tank, Battlecopter, and infantry. Does hit the anti-air, hits the recon, hits the medium tank. Does not have vision of the bomber. Does have vision of a Battlecopter. An anti-air is in the region, which could pose a threat to the bomber. The bomber may get his work done by nuking the Neo tank. 2 captures there, even out the income to even 21-21. Olaf still has an economic advantage. Hits the infantry unit, nukes the medium tank. Anti-air is on top of the city. He may have counted tiles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Counting tiles could suggest an anti-air could be on this tile here, which is 1, 2, excuse me, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So max force will allow the anti-air to be in range and probably one-shot it. But it is surrounded, at least from this side. Artillery, Battlecopter, infantry. In order for the anti-air to be range, one of these things in front needs to go down. Neo tank could take out this regular tank here, and then maybe the 1 health tank can assist that. So he could take out the tank here. With max force, he's pretty much guaranteed. Does pop the max force there. Tank hits the regular tank there. Now the anti-air does strike the bomber, one-shotting it. Does strafe the infantry unit up there, interrupting the capture. Does hit the anti-air, taking it out. Now leaving the 2 Battlecopters at full health. Softening up the Neo tank there. Battlecopters hits the medium tank twice. And the medium tank gets hit thrice. Hits infantry unit once. Another tank, Battlecopter, and infantry. Winter Fury can now be summoned, which will slow down Max's counterattack, as well as soften it. Takes on the Battlecopters. Anti-air tank, a pretty slow turn there. Max is down to 91,000 after his day-to-day funds. Olaf's at 114. So he has quite a bit of advantage right now for Olaf. Does strike the anti-air twice. Hits the infantry unit once and twice. New tank recon. Hits the battlecopter. Strafes the infantry unit there. Battlecopter hits battlecopter. Another max force now pulled in the field. How expensive are these powers getting? Max force now costs 70,000. Max blast costs 140. Versus the Winter Fury is right now 138. So Winter Fury is cheaper than Max Blast. And Blizzard is somewhat affordable. Good idea if you want to snare some battlecopters. Battlecopter, tank, and infantry. Does get some good hits there. Anti-air, battlecopter, and infantry. Tank does hit the artillery. Battlecopter hits the tank. Tank hits tank. Battlecopter hits regular battlecopter. Battlecopter hits battlecopter again. Battlecopter, tank, and infantry. Battlecopter hits regular battlecopter. Finish off the 2 health battlecopter. Artillery falls back. Tank hits tank. Artillery pushes way forward. Trying to flip it properly. Olaf does have the income advantage right now. 23,000 versus 19. And so the 26 units at 129,000 versus 78. Looks like Olaf is starting to pull quite a bit ahead. Does get a lot of units wounded there. Battlecopter, tank, and recon. Neo tank hits anti-air. Infantry, anti-air, and battlecopter. Drives the tank up north. Nothing stopped the battlecopter up north. And artillery is in range of the Neo tank to shell it. Wait, no, that's the max artillery. It's not in range. I'm an idiot. That's probably the artillery unit up here. Probably should just kept the artillery piece there. Though Olaf has not deployed as many recons as Max did. He does shell and take out 8 health infantry unit there. So I think in the end, the artillery piece may have paid for itself. Killed a infantry unit worth 1,000, a recon worth 4,000. Anti-air, battlecopter, and recon. Does take some hits here. Battlecopter, infantry, and tank. Infantry, tank, and battlecopter. Neo tank strikes regular tank and not in range of the artillery piece. Max force now activated, giving some extra firepower on these battlecopters. Does get trapped there. Battlecopter hits the recon, hits the artillery, hits the regular tank, trying to flip the property. Wolves at 25,000 income versus 17. Winter Fury is available. Neo tank gets struck twice. And now thrice. Battlecopter, tank, and infantry. Winter Fury summon, putting 117 versus 126 to 100 just to 90. Does take a number of these battlecopters right here as well. Max's southern flank has disintegrated. Does find the tank there, but also traps it. Can still hit the anti-air here. New tank does take a shot on the regular tank. Stealth, APC, and anti-air. Stealth is a power play, and Max does resign there. This hand grade saying thank you for watching, and on to the next replay. Let's see now. Let's see, gonna not maximize, gonna minimize, take a couple things. Could do, okay, this is not high funds, pretty large map. Oops, that was the same map. I'm just gonna poke around a little bit. And let's see. Just gonna poke around, see what replays I have on a little bit on the longer side. That looks like they're all pretty much the same length. Let's just do this one. Greetings everyone, and Grade here with another Advanced Wars Days Ruin, not Days Ruin, by Web replay. Small on the bottom right side as a Pink Cosmos Jess. We got Kawabunga. Small on top left side as the not Umber Wilds, Amber Blossom. Yep, Amber Blossom Jake. We've got Scizor Fan 1991. Either way, let's get started. This is a 3-base map, one airport in the corners of the earth. Take that, Globetards. And some comm towers, safe comm towers as well. We've got some labs here. And this map is sort of interesting. You can see all the forests there, so sloping on out, which makes it pretty good defense-wise. But also, there's a lot of shores and roads and fast movement for wheeled vehicles in the center. So they have a slow exit, but then they can really put in the gas. All 99, or no, they start with 80 gas. I do have a tank now deployed in the field by Jess. Tank by Jake. A lot of planes here for Jake. Of course, there's going to be a lot of vehicles for Jess. I apologize, I'm going to open my other drink nearby. Of how warm it is outside, I'm constantly drinking fluids. I've been pretty consistent at drinking like 5 liters of fluid each day. A little bit more, close to 6 liters. Maybe a little bit over hydration, honestly. Tank heading up north, got recon, infantry, and tank. Tank, and infantry. Both sides are capturing the central labs, which do absolutely nothing. I always wonder if there was ever a new Advanced Wars, could labs be a way to allow more advanced units? Or do some fun things like that. Does interrupt a good number of capture in the center against Jess, stops that capture entirely. Tank does advance the force, could be spotted. Well, it's definitely spotted entering it. Interrupts the capture. Ooh. And we saw that as casters, and it was, if Jess would have paid attention to the movement, could have seen that. But she lost the first strike on that tank, and now there could be a double tap of tanks. My empty can here. Does get some good hits there. Tank hits it. Hit the tank from the 3-star property and then finish it off. Don't need to worry about defense bonuses when you have offensive capability. Or don't have to worry about offensive capability when you have good defensive. It was actually inverse. Tank does hit the tank. Tank does finish off tank. Recon spots infantry unit there. Does spot another tank. So Jake can get a couple attacks on these tanks next turn, and we've got 2 recons potentially hit the recon. Infantry, battlecopter, infantry, and anti-air. Recon does an infantry unit there. Battlecopter, tank, infantry. Does some good hits there. Both players have the power. No artillery, so there's very little reason to go for beatdown. The only thing you should really eye for beatdown is +1 indirect range, because to be honest, the extra firepower bonuses for the planes is nothing too significant. Same thing with Cole as well. I do think that the Cole needs better scaling with his, as well Jake needs better scaling when these comes to these bonuses. I think it should be 10, 30, then 50. 50% when it comes to the planes bonuses. Same thing with Cole. Cole's even worse, as like 10, 20, 30. I think Cole could stand to get 10, 30. 10, 30, maybe 40. Maybe a bit more heavy. It's pretty cheap firepower, but then again, firing from roads also needs to be buffed, where it also affects bridges, not shores. Maybe something in more intermediate, 10, 25, then 40 for Cole. Does the infantry unit down south, takes the recon, takes the infantry in there. Artillery's out of range. Oops. Double tank and recon. Does the infantry unit there. Tank hits tank. We do now, both players have superpower available. We got the full overdrive, no 1-2 punch, just going to blitz on forward, takes out the tank there. Nothing to take on the battlecopter, looks like. Tank hits tank. Infantry, tank, and tank. We could see the block rock. The block rock was the bullet in the field, which will of course get +2 movement range on vehicles. Does hit the artillery. Battlecopter of course does get the firepower bonuses. Does get a good shot there. Does get a good shot there. Does get a good shot there. Interrupt the capture. Right now, Jake's at 19,000 versus 20,000 income. A very good number of products in the center of the map is despicably neutral. Medium tank, recon, and infantry. A couple of these things in the back line ready for repairs. Oh, infantry or recon does get trapped. Not too big of an issue. It slow it down a little bit. Tank does hit tank. Tank does hit tank. Tank hits anti-air, allowing the battle a bit more free reign. Anti-air, infantry, and tank. Does the tank there. Tank does receive a shot from tank. Anti-air, recon, recon. Does capture a property. Capture 2 properties up north. Anti-air, tank, and recon. Does the infantry unit there, and there, and there again. And there again. Medium tank straight forward. A couple tanks nearby. With the beat down, the artillery still would not be in range because currently it's 2 tiles away rather than 1. Interrupts, stops the capture, or takes the wounded unit there. Interrupts the other capture. Hits the infantry unit there, takes that one out. Recon head down south for the winter. Neo tank now pulling field. The medium tank is spotted. Medium tank hits the recon, hits the infantry unit there. Another overdrive is now available. And this is one of the few times where a beatdown could be usable by Jake, since it will increase the range of the artillery by 1 to able to be struck. Goes on top of short, so it doesn't get increased firepower bonuses. But we could actually see a beatdown. Artillery, infantry, and T-copter. Ends 127,000 versus 121. Does have vision of the medium tank. Hits the anti-air. Hits the regular tank there. Beatdown's now available. Pops a beatdown. Ready to shell this tank here. Force gets some extra firepower bonuses. No movement. Movement. Also a lot more liable to interrupt and stop the captures. A lot of good hits there. Shells the medium tank for a good amount of damage. Boosted strike onto the medium tank, nearly taking it out. We now have an overdrive now available. Anti-air hits the battle cup for good amount of damage. Tank hits tank, tank hits tank, tank hits tank. Medium tank falls back, tank hits tank. Anti-air hits a recon, battle copter hits tank. Recon goes down, anti-air hits infantry unit there, tank hits anti-air. But some health anti-air is generally still enough to be reliable versus battlecopters. Tank, recon, and tank. Recon strikes the tank there, does not take it out. Hits the anti-air, hits the regular tank, anti-air hits battlecopter, puts it down to 1 health. Tank hits tank, battlecopter hits tank. Neo tank creeps its way forward, hits that recon there. Don't think the recon spot the Neo tank. Regular tank goes down. Artillery does not find the recon. Got another artillery, tank, infantry, and battlecopter. Shells that tank there. Boosted strike from the artillery. That's in the auxiliary. Anti-air, tank, and infantry. It hits that recon twice. Another property still on the center map, despicably neutral. Another Neo tank, double infantry. The Jake is going for a large amount of heavy armor. Infantry, artillery, and tank. Neo tank takes out the regular tank. Another recon, battlecopter, artillery, and infantry. Mostly has what, 3 artillery in the field? Yes, he does. Looks like a bit of no man's land being formed, but also is acting a bit of bait. 1 health battlecopter could be shot up by an infantry unit there. I don't think the 3 health recon can do it, but the 3 health recon can still get some reconnoitering done. Another beatdown's available. Tank is in range of the artillery. Without the beatdown. Infantry, 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 keeping 7,000 funds the bank. Tank hits tank. Recon interrupts capture. And does spot the medium tank back here. Interrupts the capture, stops the capture. Tank hits artillery. Artillery hits tank. Anti-air hits tank. Recon interrupts capture. Another infantry. Does not stop the capture there. And battlecopter's down to 32 fuel. Battlecopter, tank, recon, and infantry. Overdrive now activated. Tank hits tank, tank hits tank. Hits infantry, takes out infantry. A lot of stuff down here. We could see block rock. Does hit the regular tank there. Recon goes down. 26 units versus 29 units. Jake still has an value advantage. And Block Rock is now available. And instead of 115, Jake still has 140, so he's in good position. So here comes the Block Rock. Recon reconnoiters, battlecopters, takes out T-copter. Recon interrupts capture, stops capture there, takes out or gets good hitting on the tank there. Neo tank hits the medium tank, shells the regular tank with the boosted range of artillery, interrupts that capture. Recon peppers up that infantry unit there. Regular tank hits regular tank there. Neo tank nukes regular tank. Artillery advancing, tank, infantry, and battlecopter. Shells the Neo tank there for 1 point of damage. Takes the battlecopter, hits the infantry unit twice. Neo tank double infantry. And Swift 92 versus 142. Income is 22 versus 21, so a good number of properties have been mapped despicably neutral. Neo tank takes out anti-air, hits the infantry unit there. Neo tank takes out anti-air. Regular tank hits regular tank. Takes out the infantry unit there, no problem. Does spot the regular infantry unit on top right. Anti-air, tank, and battlecopter. Battlecopter double recon and infantry unit. Interrupts the capture, stops the capture. Hits infantry unit down south. Recon, tank, and infantry from another battlecopter. Anti-air, recon, and infantry. Battlecopter hits regular tank. Trying to flip some properties and capture the neutral one. Recon, battlecopter, and infantry. Jake is also at 34 units versus 23, so it's pretty good unit number count. Cause a whole lot of stuff there. Artillery in range the recon, just needs a bit of spotting. Battlecopter, double infantry, tank. Takes the recon, hits the infantry unit there, does not take it out. Takes out the regular tank there, picks off the 2 health infantry unit there, hits the artillery, knocking it out. Does spot the recon, shells it, shoots it up. Infantry, Neo tank, and infantry. Pops the turbocharge there. Neo tank blitzes way forward, about ready to get double tapped by Neo tanks. Hits the tank a couple times, hits the battlecopter, and does outright resign there. This is Angrade saying thank you for watching, and on to the next replay. Before we get started next replay, I do need to use the restroom. Please give me a moment. My apologies, I am back. Let's see now. I already did a Olaf game. Already did a Max game. I already did an Olaf game. Here we go. Let's do this one here. Greetings everyone, and Grade here for another... Wait, did my restream IO just went down? It says I need to log back in. Live streams are still up and going, so I'm not sure what's going on. It says I need to relog my restream IO, but the live stream still appears to be ongoing, so sorry about that. Greetings everyone, and Grade here for another Advanced Wars by Web replay. So on the south side or the right side as the Blue Moon Von Bolt, we got Bogas. So on the left side as the Green Earth Hawk, we got No One's the Galator's fan. I quite agree, no one is a Galator's fan. Either way, let's get started. This map is a 3-base map, 1 airport, comm towers in the center. This map offers quite a bit of roads. Capture properties 28, which means income's actually relatively low for 3 bases, honestly. What is the median average income you'll get? Was it 19,000 roughly? 18,000 to 19,000 is the effective income, so probably gonna be a good number of infantry. Not too many battle copters, probably a good number of regular tanks, but likely not many medium tanks. On a recon here, got a tank here. Another recon, more infantry. Von Bolt's tank sitting down south. Air infantry and a recon. Recon in the right side, tank in the center. Tank is out of range, though something could advance to that forest. Tank does advance to the forest. Recon, artillery, and infantry. You have anti-air here. It's a good idea to always go for relatively early anti-air. Even if there's no battle copter, it can at least take out infantry pretty effectively. Stops captured there, trying to flip it. Hits infantry unit there, but in range of the tank. But is on top of 3 defense stars, so this infantry unit will need to be pulled off that property so the tank can get a good strike there. Goes down south instead. This tank is still in range though. Decides not to double tap that tank. Does not decide to take on that tank once. That infantry unit didn't start capturing, so I would say that's a bit questionable, not taking out that tank. With our caster vision, we know that if you were to double tap this tank, there's no effective reinforcements for it, so definitely a bad call in my opinion. Tank hits tank. Could potentially sacrifice. Oh, bit of resupply there. So this tank may need to sacrifice it. So this tank can fire a shot from the platform. Double tank infantry. And this tank is still lurking about. Get a first strike going. Hawk does not have adequate reinforcing tanks. In fact, these are only 2 tanks in the field so far. It's the recon. Takes out the recon. Tank does hit the tank. Double tank and infantry. Takes out the infantry unit there. Trying to capture that city. Recon double infantry. It's the infantry unit. Artillery's in range of the tank. Anti-air takes a shot against the artillery, getting a good amount of damage done, especially since it's on 0 defense stars. Tank does hit the recon. Looks like Von Bolt's getting a lot of good and early engagements. 89,000 for 71, has about a full turn advantage right now. Battlecopter does take the recon, or hits it. Get some infantry units here, picks off some. This tank is surrounded, could be shelled there, does not get shelled there. She does hit this tank up there, hits that tank. Getting a good amount of work done. Recon does finish off, and now the anti-air gets hit. And does let the anti-air go. A lot of good engagements there for Hawk. Couple captures there, 20,000 income for 17. Does take out a tank. Shoots up that artillery a little bit more. Tank hits tank. And there could be an argument for Black Wave right now. Good numbers of infantry units on the center of the map, and no good number of units on across the field. It's actually slightly wounded. So Black Wave would not be half bad right now. Does not finish off that wounded infantry unit there. Our flip of property now. Going to be 2 6 health tanks. If they get affected by Black Wave, 2 7 health tanks is pretty good. Does get some good hits on the right side of the map. Triple tanks. Looks like that's 21,000 incomes, which so he can pull out triple tanks per turn, barring there's no repairs. Recon hits the infantry unit up north. We do have the Black Wave actually popped, putting down to from 100,000 to 89 versus 93 and 89. Tank does hit tank. Tank does hit tank. Hits the infantry unit there twice. Recon hits the infantry unit up north. Tank, artillery, infantry. Interrupts the capture there. Repairs of the tank there. Does not take out the capturing squad. Tank hits tank. Anti-air hits infantry. Tank hits tank. Tank hits infantry. Takes out the infantry unit there. Tank hits tank. Tank hits tank. A lot of good hits there, and no power charge from that. Anti-air tank and infantry. Answer for 95,000 versus 89. 12 tank hits 5 health tank. Hawk's making some good progress up north. Needs more healthy infantry units though. Ex Machina is now available. I have no idea where Ex Machina is going to land. Could land right here. Or right here. That'll hit 2 tanks and 2 infantry units there. Black, oh no, it's definitely going to land right there. Oh, it didn't. We won't see this stuff here, but we would have had seen that one. I see nothing else hitting the center. So I have no idea where it landed. It might have still landed right here. But this is clearly higher value. I have no idea where it landed. Actually, no, it probably landed directly right there. So yeah, it landed directly right here. It would not hit that infantry unit there because it's out of the arc. Does take out that infantry unit there. Tank hits tank. Tank, infantry, recon, insert 108 versus 84. Did lock down this formation. Healthy tank hits anti-air, wounded tank hits anti-air, artillery strikes tank, tank hits tank, anti-air hits the tank, tank hits tank. Tank, infantry, and recon. Does take some good hits here. Tank hits tank. Infantry unit finish off. Does not finish off the tank. Tank hits tank, tank hits tank. Full health artillery in range of a 9 health tank. It's the recon. Do you have another black wave available? Tank, infantry, and recon. A black wave could help him finish off this 5 health anti-tier so the battlecopter can push forward. Shells the tank there. It's probably best just to go for the Black Storm though. Excuse me. Anti-tier hits infantry. Shells the tank. Healthy tank hits healthy tank. Interrupts the capture. Done 3 capture progress, so it's 3 more turns for a capture. Hits infantry unit twice. Tank, tank, and recon. 1 captures, hits the infantry unit there. So he did capture or repair, then capture, so it's down to 1 capture progress. The black bolt gave the infantry unit a high 5. Tank hits tank. Does hit the anti-tier, hits the infantry unit there. Tank, tank, and infantry. You do have almost a Black Storm available. Tank hits tank. Tank hits anti-tier. Infantry or artillery hits tank. Although he's going to wait for the Black Storm before using that artillery piece. Black Storm, so 77 versus 96 versus 89 versus 73. His infantry in the center. Tank does the tank. 3 health tank hits out the 2 health tank. Could repair up to 3 health next turn. With that 8 health tank nearby, that's probably not worth it. Does spot the recon tank. Not recon tank. Recon. Not Warno. Blah. Battlecopter, infantry, tank, and infantry. Battlecopter hits battlecopter. Tank hits tank. Hits the recon there. Battlecopter. Tank hits tank. Tank hits tank. Tank double infantry. Hits the battlecopter down south. Hits infantry in there. Battlecopter hits battlecopter. Tank, tank, and recon. Almost enough for another Ex Machina. Anti-tier hits the battlecopter. Hits the recon. Hits that recon twice. Anti-tier, recon, and infantry. Hits the 3 off infantry right there. Tank hits the anti-tier. Ex Machina summoned. Which could have landed over here, but probably right here. There's 2 possible locations, hard for me to estimate, or guesstimate. Does hit the tank, hits the tank as well. Tank, infantry, infantry, and battlecopter. It did indeed strike this formation. Shells the tank, hits the tank. Battlecopter does not get hit by the 2 health anti-tier. Battlecopter does not take out the 1 health tank. Tank double infantry. Tank does hit the 5 health, or now 6 health infantry. Does finish off the 1 health tank in range of the artillery piece. Does hit that artillery piece, knocking it out. Battlecopter hits a regular tank there, making a lot of good engagements. Tank forward hits a regular tank there, but stays out of range of the full health artillery. And loses the coin flip with the 1 health tank. So that battlecopter is probably close to 1% health now. Tank, tank, and recon. Black waves available. Don't think it's a good idea to pop it though. Does hit the infantry unit there. Takes out the 1 health infantry unit there. Anti-air devil infantry. Does take out the 1% battle copter. Takes out the artillery, hits the tank there. Tank hits the anti-air, tank hits the regular tank. Strikes the recon as well. Also got 116 versus 67. Is not looking good for Hawk. Tank does hit tank. Right now, Hawk also has 16,000 income versus 22,000 income. Big problem there. Pops a black wave, goes from 99 versus 62 to 71 versus 75, greatly calling the numbers. There's also still properties still despicably neutral, like this city here and this city here. Currently waving the French flag. Double tank infantry. This infantry unit up north. Does hit the infantry unit there twice. Oh, finds the 7 health infantry unit there. 6 health tank could take a shot on the 7 health tank. Hits the 8 health anti-air, could get resupplied there. Hits that unit a couple times, take out the battle copter. 9 health tank takes the put a hit in on that tank, hits that tank there. Does finish off there. Recons did not go around hitting those wounded tanks. Helicopter, tank, recon, and infantry, while the 5 health recon does get trapped on 3 health infantry. Tank does hit the tank. Infantry, tank, and tank. Tank does hit the tank. Tank here gets hit. Finally capture that city. Battlecopter, artillery, double infantry. Does take out the recon there. Hits some 9 health infantry and does sack the 1 health infantry unit there. Tank does hit the tank. Bit of resupply, not on the 4 health tank. Battlecopter hits the 6 health tank. 9 health tank gets struck. 4 health tank gets struck. A lot of big hits there. Ex Machina's almost available. Inter 102 versus 71. Tank does hit the tank. Ex Machina's now available. Starting to catch up this neutral city. Infantry, tank, and artillery. Ex Machina popped, and I have no idea where it landed. I could have landed right here. But honestly, it probably landed right here. Does hit the recon twice. Hit that tank there, and I think with that at 8 health, it did get struck there. Yeah, those things got struck. Recon and artillery is disabled as well from the neck down. Battlecopter, tank, double infantry. Oh no, I was just straight up wrong. He actually struck right here. And that is the end of the replay. This is Angrade saying thanks for watching, and on to the next replay. I have time for one last replay for tonight. Could do adder match. We already did a Jake map. Andy versus Drake. Let's do this one. Greetings everyone, and Grade here with another Advanced Wars Days by Web replay. Spawn top... oh, it's one of those diagonal weird maps. Spawn on this... Oh boy, it is 3 spawn locations. Spawn in this V, we as the orange star Andy, we got Noggy. Spawn in the upside down V, green earth Drake, we got Motimon. So let's get started. This is a regular funds map, 40 properties, 4 bases. We got some airports here, got seaports surrounded by shores, so stationary battleships at best. Comm towers on islands with properties already captured. I guess both Sensei and Hachi will both love this map then. Got some artillery here. I have no idea how this game's gonna go. Artillery, infantry. More infantry. A lot of capturing. Recon here. Tank there. Another comm tower in the center, which can be protected by battleships. Another pair of tanks. Let's see, tank here. Lots of captures, shelling the infantry unit there. I have a good idea for this 4-foot infantry just to charge forward. So you got a mech, got a tank, and more infantry. Interrupts the capture of the comm tower. Tracks the pipe seam, you monster. Got another pair of tanks. It's the infantry unit down south. We do have a mech here. Well, mounted support. Got a pair of labs. This is a lab map. There's the infantry unit there. Does take out the capturing squad. Another pair of tanks and artillery. It's a recon. Interrupts the capture of the seaport. Drake, of course, gets additional defense on his naval units. Anti-air mech infantry. No anti-air to deal with the battlecopter. Of course, without any comm towers, Drake's battlecopters would be at minus 30%, so he did deploy out one, which is not a great idea. But if it can't be properly countered, it can do some work. He needs comm towers to equalize the power. You could try for a T-copter to go up north as well as south. Anti-air mech, black boat infantry, resupply infantry. This property has 11 capture points remaining, just got started. Looks like Drake does manage to capture the central or the southern comm tower. Does capture first before taking engagements, very good. T-copter boost. Go for mech there, but you may just go for infantry to go up north. Tank hits tank. Tanks and infantry push forward with a artillery support. You could possibly do this comm tower, but this infantry unit is in range to interrupt it. There's that unit there. Air infantry in the center interrupts capture. Beautiful wounded unit there. So next turn I have 1 capture progress remaining. Battlecopter, tank, and pair of infantry. Another tank down south. Interrupts the capture. Infantry, Neo tank on the left, and infantry up north. Stops the capture entirely. Could have protected a little bit better. More infantry and a Neo tank now by Andy. Does interrupt the capture. Trying to flip some properties. $27,000 for 27,000 income. So, but we got properties in the center being flipped. Column tire is still neutral, and there's still unsecured properties in the corners, as well as secured ones. Infantry units push forward, trying to capture this column tower now. Artillery in range. Neo tank and another artillery piece there. Got a black boat, infantry, medium tank, infantry, and infantry. Interrupts the capture of this infantry unit there, down to 4 capture progress. Mech, rocket, infantry, and anti-air. This compound has finally been captured by Andy. Pushing down south, sacking some of these battle coppers looks like. Does get some good shots there. Getting some good work done. Does get the anti-air. Hits the mech. Hits the regular tank there. Hits the artillery. Getting a good amount of damage on that's for sure. Hits the mech there. Mech does strike the tank there. Mech hits the tank there. Mech hits the tank there. Anti-air takes the battlecopter. Typhoon's now available. Best pop. Oh, actually, no. Andy has his power and superpower. Best not pop the tsunami or typhoon. You could go for a tsunamis just to bleed off fuel and force your opponent to go for powers rather than superpowers. Not sure. There's some play you can do. Or maybe both players want to just keep their superpower available. Just wrote a hyper repair, just get some stuff repaired out of. Go from 192 to nice even 200,000 and 200. Very even. No odd numbers there. Let's hit this anti-air there. Looks like Drake's having severe trouble on the map. But Drake starting to put some pressure down south. Neo can take a hit Neo tank. We got another Neo tank here. Does pop the superpower to soften everything up. Stops a capture, hits that infantry unit twice. Oops. When it comes to powers, Andy of course can quickly pull out his regular power. Bit of fuel bleed against Andy though. Does pop his power there. Neo tanks push forward, get a nice bit of global repairs. Submerges. Battleship, infantry, mech, infantry, and infantry. Goes for a battleship to help zone out the rocket. The rocket is in range. Rocket is not in range of the battleship though. Regular tank hits regular tank. Rocket does keep its distance away from the battleship. Does take out the regular tank there. Mech got another rocket over here on the left side. And looks like got the column towers trying to be flipped. It looks like Drake goes for the city, not the column tower. Neotank's heading its way up north. Neotank gets the anti-air, does not use the battleship yet. Battleship can shell the artillery piece, does shell the regular tank. Infantry, artillery, anti-air, infantry. Does hit that infantry unit there, almost lose that tank in their progress. Drake's on the front shift down south. Looks like I've got another medium tank up north. Catch the column tower first, very nice. Shells the artillery piece. Another Neo tank, triple infantry. Mech does hit the tank there. It does pop the power, just causing not only a little bit of global damage, but start doing the fuel bleed. Does hit another tank, finish it off with the mechs. Mega tank, infantry, and base skip. Let's get some hits there on the infantry in the center. We're gonna tank, infantry, and infantry. Does use the one health mech to strike the artillery piece. And looks like the black boat does get sunk to the bottom of the sea. Looks like it ran out of fuel. I was not paying close enough attention. My apologies. Was the infantry units over here just going to be trapped? Which is also not a bad thing to help keep the island secured. It's the mech there. And Drake still does not go for the comm tower. I think that's a bad idea. I think you should go straight for the comm tower. Drops on the tree there. T-copter's down to 27 fuel. Neotank hits the anti-air. Does gun down the anti-air. Another fresh mega tank. In range of an artillery piece. We do have a hyper repair available. He may just hold on to it. That's infantry unit there. Shells the mega tank for a bit of damage. Bomber, infantry commits a base skip. Anti-Hero does it, infantry unit there. Anti-Hero is the infantry unit there. Mega tank takes out artillery. New tank takes out the artillery. Mega tank takes out the tank. So as an APC to resupply those mega tanks. Anti-Air infantry. Andy almost has enough on hyper upgrade, which he could do some work in order to get this stuff repaired on hitting the mega tank. Mega tank is down to 2 ammo. He could try draining it off, maybe with a regular tank. And with something. Neo tank strikes mega tank. Took a bit of damage return, gets repaired on up. Goes from 169 to 185 versus 169. Shells the rocket, takes out the rocket, hits the infantry unit. Of course, does not manage to get plus 10% firepower and plus movement range. Shells the Neo tank, hits the Neo tank, hits the Mega tank. Mech hits the artillery, hits the recon, hits the anti-air, hits the regular tank. Mega tank gets struck again. Another bomber, APC, artillery, infantry, and commits a base skip. 318, 254. And I mentioned a bit of fuel bleed. Starting to take on that battleship, hits a couple times. As the tank hits the Neo tank, hits the battlecopter, hits the medium tank, hits the mag, hits the battlecopter. Neo tank infantry does get a good amount of shelling done. Some T-copter down south, hit some of these units with a bit of damage there. Continue capturing, 6 capture progress remaining. Tank, infantry, anti-air, and infantry. Now there's 2 mega tanks spawn in the field. I wonder if you're watching a little bit later point. It is also not even high funds, as there's been 2 mega tanks this game. Battleship getting shelled a couple times. Hits infantry unit there, hits the mech. Neo tank's rotating around. Mega tank hits the mech. And it's on top of the city, so if it's ever lost some ammo, it still has 3 ammo. Rocket was for minimum, Neo tank for minimum range of the rocket. Regular tank up here. Neo artillery also finding some covering up here. And Drake does resign there. This Angrade saying, thank you for watching, and on to the next replay. As mentioned before, and that shall be my last replay for tonight. So everyone, thank you for watching, have a good evening, and get some good rest. Enjoy.